I've never been to a con as large as VidCon. I've never been to Comic Con or Dragon Con or anything huge. My experiences at Harry Potter conventions didn't truly prepare me for the sheer scale of VidCon.
Welcome to the 5th annual VidCon!
There were plenty of good things like the panel on educational video.
So he's simulating in his brain someone who is smarter than him. That's incredible.
Meeting Derek from Veritasium, albeit briefly. The Frozen screening where I got to sing all the songs with probably 1,000 people. And generally, any time I got to talk to people and connect on a personal level. And like any con, there were bad things, like the badly organised lines or the panel I didn't arrive early enough to get into. But the most surprising negative to me was the fan behaviour we all witnessed. People, mostly teenage girls, chasing famous YouTubers across the convention centre and screaming as they went. This didn't really happen on quite this level in the Harry Potter fandom. Wizard rockers, and even to an extent people like Ivana Lynch, would dance with everyone else without fear for their own safety. It seemed like everyone was on the same level. Wizard rockers weren't better than the rest of us, they were us. They were people, Harry Potter fans who just happened to create great music. I was walking through the convention centre when I overheard a conversation. I didn't hear how the conversation started, but what I did hear struck me as interesting. Two friends were talking. The first one said, "Funny, I never thought he'd do that." The second friend said, "Why?" She replied, "'Cause he's famous." I have absolutely no idea who this YouTube celebrity was, what they did, and why that struck these people as so odd. But in that one little fragment of conversation, I noticed a problem, and a problem that has manifested itself in all kinds of ways here at VidCon. This person seemed to be implying that the YouTube celebrities are somehow different, somehow set aside from the rest of us. That the standards of behaviour for us are somehow different to those for a YouTube celebrity. And maybe in some way they are. Certainly when John Green had to leave the room after a panel, apologising to his fans who wanted signatures and photos. When he has so many people and only a limited amount of time, you can't help but understand that. Whereas it could be seen as a complete jerk move by someone else. But we are talking about a con that's seen large groups of screaming girls chasing YouTube celebrities through the convention centre. John tried to mitigate it by talking about seeing people complexly in the opening ceremonies. But ultimately you've got to feel that a lot of it did fall on deaf ears. In the Nerdfighter Q&A, Hank said something about this, although he wasn't referencing the screaming girls directly. He talked a little bit about how we take these people and see them as the picture of fame, as an object, not a person. They aren't an individual with their own thoughts and feelings. Do we really not understand that people are just people? That we can have conversations with them like anyone else? Yet at the same time I'm reminded of how starstruck I was as a young kid. Even the thought of meeting some of my favourite celebrities would fill me with anxiety and fear. Slant that fear just a little and you have excitement, and if you have enough excitement, you have a screaming fanboy or fangirl. So maybe this is just old people not understanding what it's like to have a celebrity crush or a celebrity interest. Maybe it's a fault in the education system. But you've got to think there's a disconnect somewhere when a person can behave in such a way that would be terrifying for most people on the receiving end. I would love to have lots of people watch my videos, but I don't want it that badly. And I think a lot of YouTubers want a community they can interact with, who will talk with them, who will provide feedback, who will discuss whatever topic has been introduced. And as we can see from even the way people like John Green are treated, no matter how much nuance we put into our thoughts and our expressions, there seems to always be a point where that disconnect arrives. And you know, maybe it's human nature. Maybe on some level, simplifying people is just a part of what we do. We like to put people into boxes. It simplifies the world when in fact the world is not really simple at all, but it makes us feel better. Somehow makes it easier to take, to deal with our social anxiety and nervousness and concern about whether we matter on the grand scheme of things. When the truth is, no matter who we are, no matter what we do, there is no arguing that we do matter. Every one of us matters. Unless you live in a bubble and never interact with any other human being in your entire life, you do matter. You are part of the human story. And even if John's message of seeing people complexly hasn't been taken on board by a lot of people, even if it has fallen on deaf ears, it's a story that needs to be told and told again. And maybe in some tiny, tiny way, this video will help. Either way, it's been a really interesting experience and one I'm definitely glad I had. I think I'll always prefer the smaller cons, and the community that we have in the Harry Potter fandom is something very special.
Got some roots to say, guacamole.
And until next time, whether it's physics or the things you see around you at an online video convention, either way, keep questioning.
Double rainbow all the way across the sky.